We are making not one, not two, but two things for the 2025 State Fair. A little cute Kendra Bumpkin grandma. We're working on this entry first because I am the most threatened by it and the most scared to mess up. And right now we're making a miniature bed. I'm recycling some pieces of foam from packaging, cutting them down to size, and also smoothing out the sharp edges so it looks a little bit more like a mattress. Duh. Nobody wants a pointy mattress. And now I'm marking the quilted pattern of the top of a mattress. I also thought I would include the seam of a mattress, you know, around the edges, but this didn't really pan out. Copying the quilted pattern down on the sides, trying to make sure they match up with the lines and the pattern on the top. And now I am burning quilted pattern on so it's actually 3D. Again, continuing down the sides and praying that they line up. It's time to actually add some fabric on top of it, so let's cut it to shape. Cover it in Mod Podge, which is a sensory nightmare. Everything's getting covered in Mod Podge, so also cover the mattress base. And then you're just gonna flop your fabric onto the mattress. I'm pinning the fabric down at each point of the quilted pattern so it looks, again, 3D. That fabric will mold to the texture that we burned into the mattress. That didn't look dangerous at all. Continue on to the sides and don't get stabbed like I did. Shockingly, when you have needles pointed everywhere, they can sometimes poke you. We're going to trim the extra fabric off of the side. Looked like the needle was going through the scissors, but it was just a reflection. Glue down the edges onto the back so it looks nice and clean-ish. Now we're going to work on the box spring because yes, we're putting all parts of the bed. I'm extra. Putting a dark fabric to be the top of the box spring. Now that covers the spring. I'm putting a light colored fabric around the edge and folding it over and gluing it down so it looks kinda clean, cutting off excess as needed. And of course I don't want any foam showing, so I cut a little piece to cover the foam. Not sure where I'm going, but oh, there it is. Cut the piece actually down to size so it doesn't look, you know, as janky as it could have. And obviously glue it down. I use a lot of hot glue, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have patience for water-based glue. I also don't have the lung capacity for E6000, okay? Take every single one of the pins out, and this was so satisfying to do, but it also took forever. Last one, yay! She's so textured. I'm gonna paint a little lacy design like some mattresses have, you know, because you want your mattress to be pretty. Then I'm going to trace the shape of the quilted pattern so there's actually shadows and you can see it better. You know, there's stitching. So let's do the stitching. Popping a magnet on the bottom of the mattress because I would like this to sort of hold together because I want all of these pieces to come apart eventually. Again, because I'm extra, I would like these things to be removable and layerable and, you know, realistic. That also means I didn't think ahead and now I have to harvest another magnet. Cut open the box spring that we just glued down so we can pop a magnet in the box spring as well. A+ for thinking ahead, fall A+. Obviously we need a tiny fitted sheet, so measure out your stretchy elastic band so it will fit snugly over the mattress. Tie it into a knot down your probably very low thread fabric. Stretch the elastic over the fabric. Start trimming and start gluing so the fabric is flipped over the elastic thread and you're encapsulating the elastic thread in the fabric. Now this doesn't have to look pretty. As you can see, it doesn't look pretty, and you also probably want to trim the excess so it's not super bulky. Bring down the last side. Then you can take off the fitted sheet, and this is gonna be magic. Look at this. Flip the fitted sheet inside out, and now it looks like a crisp little fitted sheet. It's oh my gosh. I love it so much. I just love it. Now covering up the magnet on the bottom of the bed. Well, the foam, technically. Magnet's still sticking out because I was afraid it was gonna, you know, not stick anymore. Now we're moving on to the bed frame? Question mark? Oh my gosh, what is that called? The thing that lifts your bed off of the floor so it's not just a box spring on the ground. Anyway, I measured so it would be the appropriate size of the base of the bed. We're making tiny little splinters, putting those on 2 of the corners of the frame. That was a little too big, so now I'm hammering it down. I believe the thicker edges are supposed to be bumpers so you don't absolutely destroy your shin if you bump into it, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think these are our best contenders for wheels. What do you think?
I'd say so. Very wheel-like to me. I started doing a bunch of, extremely complicated stuff because I was gonna make the bed actually roll, which sounded like a good idea in my head, but then in practice, actually trying to do it was an absolute nightmare. It was extremely bulky, so I said screw it, and I just glued the wheel onto the little pegs. So much easier. Oh my goodness, why didn't I just do this to begin with? Now we need to make the brackets that go over the wheels so it does look like it will roll, but it will definitely not roll because they are just stationary little wheels. And moving right along for that to dry, we are going to start the process of making a, oh lord, why can I not think of literally anything? Headboard. Headboard. Whatever, the decorative thing that goes at the head of the bed, okay? Gluing 3 popsicle sticks together so we get a nice thick base, and then we're going to file those, make sure they're tall enough, and then we're gonna connect them. We're not just doing bed posts, okay? We're doing headboard, if that is what it is in fact called. Do some fun decorative little pieces of wood, and just add a lot more wood to make it more sturdy and so that it hopefully doesn't fall apart. Put your little doodads on top so it looks, you know, nice and cute and decorative. Cover as much of the bad stuff as we possibly can, and now we're going to move on to making pillows, stuffing them with our scraps that we have created, cutting all of this fabric. I did sew these pillows. It's a really easy stitch. It's probably the most basic stitch for edges, and I made blue and white ones, and I think they are so cute. Now we need to make a blanket, because why have a bed without a blanket? You know what I'm saying? So I'm gluing the edges so I can get a nice clean line, because this fabric frays really, really bad. So when I cut it, it will not fray, and it will be very clean, and I can actually have an okay looking edge. To get it to look like not stiff fabric, like a blanket would actually lay, cover it all in Mod Podge, put it on a piece of aluminum, and then mold it how you want it to look on the bed, and then it will dry like that. So you can add wrinkles, textures, make sure it's around the bed. Now we're jumping back to the bed frame, painting it all black as a solid base color, and make sure to get every detail and be careful not to get the black on the wheels. That detail is very, very important, and it will elevate the look of it. Then I'm adding a metallic paint on the highlights of things that would, you know, kind of shine in the light, because this is supposed to be metal, not wood, but I made it out of popsicle sticks, so now we have to sell the illusion. I'm also putting little bolts on the brackets where it would go into the wheel, jumping all the way back to the headboard, painting it to match the bubbles on the top, and I'm being very streaky with my paint application to make it look like an actual wood grain. And I'm also going to take a little bit of yellow watered down paint to match the wood color of our beads that we put on top a little bit more. And with the leftover paint, I'm going to dirty up the wheels, because why not? It's looking so cute.
I just realized I forgot something. I wanted to make a bed skirt.
So let's do that. Except I filmed barely any of this process, and I'm so sorry. This was literally what the camera was doing when I was making the ruffle. So I guess you don't get to see that. I'm so sorry. I'm bad. But here is the finished bed. It is so cute. It is adorable. And I thought it would be cute to film it on my actual life-size bed. Finished bed skirt. It's also removable. Duh. And I'm putting it all together so you can see all of the adorable little layers. It was suggested that I leave part of the fitted sheet off so you could see the mattress. But let me know what you think, and good luck and happy haunting.